The United States Federal Reserve is considering the creation of a digital dollar. Cyber currencies have many supporters, yet critics warn they would be a privacy nightmare.
One currency expert claims the removal of cash would push America closer to a totalitarian state. Dale Hurd has the story.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told the House Financial Services Committee in March that the Fed had already begun testing a digital dollar.
What we're doing is experimenting in kind of early stage experimentation. How would this work? Does it work? What's the best technology? What's the most efficient?
Just like paper dollars, a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, would be issued by the Federal Reserve. Those pushing for it say it would have several advantages over physical money. They say it could be used to fight inflation because the Fed would have more direct control over the money supply. It could speed up transaction payments and help fight money laundering.
The ability to track transactions has a couple of elements that are very attractive to economic policymakers. One is to know where people are spending their money. Another is to track taxes and prevent evasion and that sort of thing.
Backers say the U.S. needs a digital dollar if it wants to remain the world's reserve currency. Opponents warn that it could be a very effective instrument of government control. Physical money has been called one of the last bastions of privacy. Laws like the Bank Secrecy Act have already stripped away most of the privacy from bank accounts and financial transactions.
Banks have really a ton of power that people don't realize to shut down accounts, to freeze accounts, and to end up holding them for really any number of reasons.
Currency expert James Rickards says a digital currency would move America closer to a totalitarian state.
If I buy anything, the government doesn't know it. MasterCard kind of knows it, but even MasterCard uses product codes. So they don't say, Jim bought a Snickers. It says Jim bought miscellaneous merchandise at a retail place. So the government doesn't know what you're doing. But with this new central bank digital currency, they will, because they maintain the ledger. So if I buy, Ron DeSantis' new book, or I go to a Donald Trump rally, or whatever it may be, the government, using artificial intelligence and having that information, which they would, are able to profile you. They say, well, this guy kind of looks like a conservative and maybe he's MAGA. And then you've got a target on your back.
Last year, a Canadian court froze millions of dollars raised for truckers blocking roads to protest COVID-19 vaccine mandates. When the Pakistani government was faced with almost non-stop protests last year, it threatened to switch off the bank accounts of the protesters. A digital dollar could not only be switched off, the Fed would be able to force negative interest rates on Americans if it wanted them to spend more, penalizing savers. Digital cash might also be an easy target for hackers. On the bank-to-bank level, a real-time payment system called FedNow is expected to begin in July. It's not a digital currency, but an upgrade to what some call our antiquated banking system.
FedNow service is an instant payments infrastructure that financial institutions can use to clear and settle payments instantly.
Large bank deposits will be expected to clear much faster than they do now. But when it comes to a digital dollar, Fed Chairman Powell has admitted he's not at all confident that Americans want it. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, this ought to send a chill down your spine when you read in the book of Revelation that there'll come a day where you can't buy or sell. The digital currency actually enables that. If there's physical currency, whether that's coins or paper money, you get to have that, and you get to have physical possession of it, and so you can go to a marketplace and you can buy. You can also take your products to a marketplace and sell them and get cash. And the government's not involved in that transaction at all. They don't even know it's happening. But in a digital currency, they will know exactly what you're buying and how much you're paying for it and who you bought it from. So now you have absolute control that they could shut off your digital currency. And in that shutoff, you don't get to buy and you don't get to sell.
YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Truck Talk, brought to you by me, inspired by my man Chili. I got something to tell y'all today, man. Look, y'all jokers better freaking stay armed. All right? You've gotten complacent. Every one of us, at least the majority of us Americans, have gotten complacent. And we see all these warnings out there about these terrorist cells here in America that might potentially activate, and we're thinking, oh man, oh, we're all freaking scared and we're all worried, and we're thinking, what should we do? Well, you should always be armed, okay? You should have been armed before, and right now, if you needed a wake-up call because you're complacent, this is your wake-up call. You should be armed. I hear Americans say all the time, oh, well, we should vote because it's our right to vote. Likewise, you should be armed because it's your right to be armed as an American, okay? Now, here's the thing. You ain't gonna do much with this. You ain't gonna do much. You wanna know what this is for? This is to wear concealed and to fight your way to a better weapon system, all right? Half of you guys, unless you're really trained up on a pistol, you're really proficient, and you practice on a regular basis, you're going to shoot this thing, and out of 10 shots, you're going to be lucky to hit one thing, all right? This is made to fight your way to a pistol. When I say be armed, or to fight your way to a rifle, when I say be armed, I mean you should always be within walking distance of a rifle. That's exactly right. I know it sounds crazy to think you would carry a rifle in your vehicle, that you would keep a rifle handy in your home, that you would keep a rifle handy around your office. You fight with a rifle, all right? With a pistol, you fight your way to your rifle, so then you can actually start fighting, all right? So you need to always be within walking distance to your rifle. You're going to keep a rifle in your truck. Look, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Freaking put it in your daggone truck. You ain't got to put your $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 rifle in your truck. Just go buy your old freaking Colt, or, you know, a regular old rifle with M4 style rifle with iron sights on it. You can buy one for $500 or $600. Sight the dang thing in. You need to know how to use it. Keep it in your truck. What else should you have with that rifle? In your vehicle, or your office, or wherever you're at, wherever that real piece of equipment that you can fight with is going to be. You need to have a daggone med kit. You need to have an IFAK, individual first aid kit. You need to have at least one tourniquet, and you need to have extra magazines for your rifle, all right? I carry 3 magazines. That's 90 total rounds, a M4 style rifle, a med kit, a headlamp, a fixed blade knife. Don't freaking kid yourself, man. If you're ever somewhere in a city or something, and freaking crap goes down, and you're running around with a pistol, you are going to be combat ineffective. Don't forget, it is your right as an American citizen to be armed. It is your duty as an American citizen to be armed and to be proficient with the firearms that you arm yourself with. Y'all need to start freaking taking this crap seriously, man. Because you're lazy and you're complacent. And anytime a real threat comes up, people say these are scary times. Screw that, man. These ain't scary times. Scary for who? Scary for you, you complacent freaking turd. You should have been ready all along. You should be always ready. Freaking hate it when people tell me to stay safe. That's bullcrap, man. I do inherently dangerous things. Have my entire adult life. I'm not safe. I'm not careful. I'm freaking ready. I'm trained. I'm proficient. I'm equipped for whatever freaking comes. You got anything out of this episode, man? Share it with somebody. that might need to hear it. Go buy a hat, buy a t-shirt. Keep chillweed in the dungeon. I love you guys. Catch you on a flip-flop.
There are serious long-term problems facing America. Thanks to outsourcing, this country no longer has the same reserve of stable middle-class manufacturing jobs we did even 30 years ago. In coastal cities, housing has become astronomically expensive. Prices are rising far quicker than wage growth.
In the once thriving heartlands of America, the hum of machinery has been replaced by a deafening silence. Our manufacturing sector, the backbone of this great nation, has been eroded, and countless jobs have vanished, leaving behind empty factories and broken dreams. Meanwhile, the dream of owning a home, an essential part of the American dream, is slipping away from many. Skyrocketing real estate prices have turned the pursuit of homeownership into an impossible mission for far too many hardworking Americans.
Now, these might seem like unrelated problems, but they're not. A single theme unites them: a systematic decision by many of our country's most powerful leaders to sell out America to China. Those jobs that were outsourced, they went to China. Those rising home prices, all cash Chinese buyers are a major contributor to that, though it's almost never said out loud.
And as we grapple with these domestic challenges, a formidable adversary has emerged on the global stage. China, a nation once seen as an economic underdog, has rapidly transformed into a superpower, and it's eyeing dominance in every sector, from technology to trade, and yes, even our educational system.
China is no longer simply an economic rival of the United States, it's becoming a dangerous enemy. But instead of protecting us from this threat, an existential one, our leadership class collaborates with the other side. Why do they do that? Simple, they're getting rich from it.
The Chinese government invests heavily in its education system, producing a workforce that is competitive, skilled, and highly innovative. In contrast, our education system, once the envy of the world, is struggling. We face declining standards, stifling bureaucracy, and a lack of emphasis on essential skills that our children need to compete in this new world order.
Recently, the Texas A&M University system tried to gauge how many of its faculty were getting Chinese money. More than 100 of them had been recruited, it turns out, but only 5 had reported their work for a hostile foreign government. How many were indicted? You guess. Oh yeah, 0. Now, Chinese officials aren't paying these academics because they love scholarship. No. America's universities are key centers of scientific research and technical innovation. China would like to steal that information, and they are. As of tonight, the FBI is investigating more than 1,000 cases in which they believe China has stolen research from American firms. If anything, our top colleges and universities are encouraging this to happen. And you can see it by the way they recruit. Chinese grad students fill our research labs. This makes college administrators much richer, but it also allows the Chinese government easy access to critical information, some of it that directly bears on our national security. American academics have made it clear whose side they're on. For officials at the University of Missouri-Kansas City, removed an artistic display supporting protesters in Hong Kong because Chinese students complained. According to the New Republic, Columbia University's Global Center in Beijing canceled talks because they might upset Chinese officials. They're squelching free speech at the direction of communist China. And that's common in the business world. Disney changed its Tibetan character in one of its movies into a European woman because acknowledging Tibet's existence would anger their masters in China. They should be ashamed. Gap apologized for selling a t-shirt in Canada that didn't feature Taiwan as part of China. By the way, it's not part of China, but China demanded that Gap pretend it is, and they complied. We could go on. There are endless examples of this kind of thing. It's happening all around us. The scariest part is that as China has grown more powerful, America has grown more dependent on it. Outsourcing our manufacturing power brought American companies big short-term profits. Head to Florida and you'll see the houses they built with those profits. But in the long run, that decision made this country dangerously dependent on a nation that seeks to displace us on the world stage. Consider just one small sector of the American economy, medical supplies. What if China simply cuts off exports as a show of force? That could happen. How do we respond? We'd be helpless. The saddest and most infuriating part is that none of this needed to happen in the first place. China didn't just one day magically overtake us. Our leaders made that possible. They abetted it. They profited from it. They betrayed us.
The battle we face is not just economic. It's about preserving the very fabric of our nation. Our ability to manufacture, to own homes, and to educate our children will determine our future. We must reclaim our manufacturing sector, make housing affordable again, and reinvent our education system to equip our youth with the skills they need to face the challenges of tomorrow.